Uh, Nothing ever good comes when you combine Vandal City and Targon, by the way.
Apparently there was a new video that Roy put out. I want to watch this. It was just some more like theory and data mine stuff about the new champions. Presumably we're going to start getting reveals for the new thing by next week, by the way. The new set or something. There's going to be a new expansion in this video game, Legends of Runeterra. Here's a video by TheSkilledRoy.
TheSkilledRoy here, back with another.
For those of you guys who don't know, this guy is always he's the one in the community that's always like data mining things and making accurate predictions about future things. He was most known for predicting that the 10th region would be Bandle City when literally every other human being on the planet thought it would be Void or Ishtal. I remember it was a really good meme back then.
Legends of Runeterra video. It's been a little bit now since we've had the chance to play the amazing Path of Champions game mode, and we're all still recovering from the absolutely incredible showcase of animation that was Arcane. But little would you know it, we actually have a new expansion coming to Legends of Runeterra soon, and it's full of new cards, but more importantly, new champions. So, who are those champions going to be? Well, here are my bets. As always, when we start these off, we gotta know what we're working with. So far, the Bandle City expansion as a whole should have a new champion for every previous region, and then enough for Bandle City to then match that number. Yep. That means we're looking at 9 total champions for the other regions, bringing them to a total of 8 non-event champions. This means Bandle City will also need 8 new champions for a final total of 17 champions. So far, in the first expansion of Bandle City, we have seen 9 champions, which leaves 8 champions remaining for the last 2 expansions. Now, I'm just going to assume they're going to try to keep the numbers equal here and make both of the following expansions have 4 champions each. Furthermore, we can also probably assume that there's probably going to be about 2 Bandle City champions and 2 non-Bandle City champions in each of these expansions, as this is the only way to guarantee equality across both of the card expansions. So, let's get started. First off, the second everyone saw—
As far as I know, I mean, not to spoil anything for the video, but just based on my personal supposition, we're getting, what, Yuumi and Nar, I think is what we decided last time?
The title of this expansion, we all knew who was referring to. The absolute definition of a magical misadventure is the champion Yuumi. But what region is she?
Can't wait.
Well, I think many of you may think it's obvious as her home is Bandle City. Here's the thing. It's been pretty clear based on how they're willing to place Ziggs and Shurima of all places that they're interested predominantly in ensuring that each Bandle City champion, besides Tristana, are split into one of the remaining regions. Out of the regions remaining, I think the only obvious answer here is that Yuumi is going to be a Bandle City and Targon champion.
Oh god. Oh no. No, no, no.
Nothing ever good comes when you combine Vandal City and Targon, by the way. Also, Yuumi is known for just kind of being pretty like toxic and occasionally overpowered in every other video game that she's in. I smell a coming disaster. I can't be the only one, guys. I can't be the only one. This doesn't sound good to me.
You can tell this because of the existing Bandle City and Targon follower, Loping Telescope.
And I think he's
Loping
right.
Telescope is pretty clearly an object that has gained sentience and has these small little animal familiars attempting to deal with him. You'll notice that it's a very similar dynamic to that of Yuumi, an animal familiar, and her partner Book, who is a book. And if you don't believe me, that's totally fine, but listen to the narrative editorial director of Riot Games, Lori Golding. Lori directly compares these to magical mice, calling them similar to the magical cat Yuumi.
See, like this is the kind of shit Roy does. This is why his predictions are always so accurate.
Seeing as many followers of champions match the similar design points to the champion, it's not too hard to see that this is probably going to be a Yuumi follower, and thus Yuumi is going to be a Bandle City Targon champion. But that's not the only hint we've gotten so far. You see, during the Bandle City cinematic, we got this cute story of Ava trying to help the Bandle Scouts. However, we didn't see how her story would end just yet. Instead, we see her being told to head to Ionia by Caitlyn before fading to a "to be continued." So it's almost certain that we're going to see Ionian champions when Ava goes there, and they're devoting an entire section to the cinematic to Ionia. So let's start with Yordles. When it comes to Yordles, there's basically only one real choice here, and that is Kennen. Kennen has been synonymous with the region for a very, very long time, has deep lore and connections to the region.
I have no goddamn idea who this is. He's some kind of lightning rat that just... I've played League a couple times, and every time I see this one, he just asks for me.
It's entirely possible they throw us a curveball like they did with Ziggs, but given that I know there's another curveball coming in the final Bandle City expansion, I really don't think they're going to try to subvert our expectations on this one. I think they'll play it straight and they'll give us Kennen as the Ionian and Bandle City Yordle. So the next question that follows that, of course, is what champion is going to be the pure Ionian representative? Now, I know a lot of people have been guessing things like Ivern or Zayan Rakan or Akali. I think these would be all great, don't get me wrong, but I think I know what's really going to happen. You see, the issues with champions like Ivern is that there is thematic overlap. When it comes to the whimsical themes, Bandle City already has you covered. And if you look at every other champion chosen thus far, every single one is more of a dark or more serious character besides maybe Nami. So why is that? It's because if you have an expansion all about cute and whimsical creatures, you should probably find a balance. If Ionia chooses someone like Ivern for this, it's just going to create too much thematic overlap.
Dude,
so
Roy is like 7-head with this shit.
When it comes to magical misadventures, who else but the magical Ionian who just went on one hell of a misadventure in Bilgewater, and that is Ahri. I think Ahri is almost certainly going to come for a wide variety of reasons.
Yeah, it's time. See, I know he is gonna mention the reveal that the casters that we made at the was it Worlds, the Ahri card.
Obviously, she's incredibly popular and marketable, one of the most so in all of League of Legends, but she also just got a follower card already. Matriarch here is a card from the first part of Bandle City that directly features Ahri right with her. Now I know what you're thinking, what about all the other references to future champions on other cards?
The fun fact, so I was one of the ones who revealed this card. I'm pretty sure it was Worlds. It might have been one of the seasonals, literally don't remember. But the production told us we weren't allowed to say the word Ahri when we revealed this card, this Tailcloak Matriarch. Like, even though Ahri is very clearly in the picture, we weren't allowed to say, oh look, it's Ahri, or like Ahri confirmed, for, you know, various reasons. I mean, it's the kind of thing that makes sense, but yes, it's obviously Ahri, and Ahri is obviously going to be in the game after this. The only problem is we can tell that she is going to be doing like recall synergy. I think that, so recall is an archetype that's never really been good in the game yet. It's always been pretty weak, and the reason for that is just because it's never really had good synergy tie-in, right? Like, Yasuo is sort of adjacent to recall, but mostly he wants you to do stuns. Recall just levels him up sometimes. And we've never had like a recall deck. Like, cards like Monastery of Harana have always been jokes. When you make a new card and design it around helping like an old synergy, there's a chance that Ahri will bail out recall entirely. I like to compare it to, like, Ahri is sort of like running into a burning building to save recall, right? Which is to say, I mean, there's a chance that she'll bail out recall, and and she'll make recall work when it never has before. And there's also a chance that she's just running into a burning building.
They're not there yet, but you see, this card doesn't just have a small reference to another champion, or have them off in the background or in the shadows. Instead, Ahri is front and center. As I said before, followers often match the style and design of their respective champion, and the full art of this card reveals the Vastaya woman to seemingly be another Fox Vastaya, just like Ahri. We also know that because Ahri was recently voice acted in Ruined King, her voice actor, Laura Post, had to come into the recording studio recently. This means they could have had...
Roy is literally like giga braining this. The amount of neurons activated in this guy's brain when he does this like future theory craft, like the angles this guy considers is ridiculous.
At her voice Ruined King, as well as her upcoming Legends Runeterra cards. Because as we know, Legends Runeterra works about 2 years in advance. Speaking of significance of years, we are coming up on a big event, namely the Ahriversary. The Ahriversary is an upcoming event celebrating the creation of Ahri, where she's getting a new splash art on some of her skins, as well as a new chroma for each of them. This event is likely coming around right around her release date, December 14th, which, like Ahri, of course, is right around the release window of the upcoming Legends of Runeterra event. Between the marketability, existing on cards already, the availability of her voice actor, and a literal event dedicated entirely just to her, I think it's fairly likely...
Wait, is this actually real? Oh my god. Holy shit. All right, well, I will say, you know, it's very obvious that, like, you know, so if you've played the Ruined King, you know that it's a Bilgewater versus Shadow Isle story, but Ari and Yasuo are just in that story. They're literally like, they show up on a boat. They were like on fucking vacation or some shit. And it's obvious that they're only there because like they're very popular League characters and they're just shoehorned in. They literally had to be like, oh yeah, they were just on vacation, just showed up to this whole thing just at the right time. And of course it makes sense because Ari and Yasuo are two of the most popular League characters. Makes perfect sense, right? And of course, yeah, they're both going to be Ionia, and we basically know for a fact Ari's going to have recall synergy, and Yasuo, despite he doesn't really have recall synergy, but one of the words on his text is recall, which is enough to bait people into thinking it's synergy. So we already know people are going to build like Ari Yasuo decks. Even if Ari's good, she's going to have a hard time working well with Yasuo for, you know, Yasuo reasons.
That Ari is going to be coming in the next expansion as the solo Ionia champion.
I would love to see a Yasuo buff.
With one final champion. And I'm not gonna lie, this one is pretty tough. I don't have a clear answer on this one, but let me show you my theory and how I sort of went through the process of elimination. You see, since we know that this last champion can't be a Yordle because of the even split of 2 Yordles and 2 non-Yordles, we have to choose between Targon, Demacia, and Freljord. Yep. So firstly, let's eliminate Freljord. You see, on the title screen of the initial release of Vandal City,
Roy,
we got to see Ava looking into 3 portals.
Oh my god,
the middle one representing the next set, which was Ionia. This, of course, matched with her cinematic. But the portal on the far right was clearly Snow and Freljordian. This means that Freljord is likely going to be the last set, because the first portal represented the first set because it had Piltover and Zon in it. So, with Freljord eliminated for being in the second set, next we have to decide between Targon and Demacia.
Okay, it might be a bit of a reach. That one, it could be legit. Riot would have to really be, I mean, Riot's good at that too. The reason that Roy's able to predict this kind of stuff is because Riot does have really, really good attention to detail. Like, otherwise these predictions would be nonsense, but that seems like the kind of thing Riot could actually very, very easily do on purpose.
The last 2 regions remaining. Both aren't bad options, but there is a crucial thing to note. If you do Targon here, that means there's only 2 regions that are realistically getting cards this expansion, because Ari and Kennen will be Ionia, and if you give a Targon champion to match Yuumi, you're looking at 4 champions for just 2 regions, not counting Vandal City, of course. So for the sake of balance, it seems much more likely that they're going to go with another region besides Targon, and therefore I think it's going to be Demacia. So what solo Demacia region champion should it be? Well, thankfully, Magical Misadventures...
I mean, at this point, it seemed like where my brain is going, I'm thinking like, okay, who are they going to pair off? Because usually in the second set of any expansion, this is where the devs like create forced synergies, like, you know, the Pike Rek'Sai, kind of like Tahm Kench Soraka, like something that would be like a forced pair with Ari's recall abilities or Kennen's whatever the hell Kennen does.
Down a lot of the Demacia champions, because only realistically it leaves Sylas, Sona, and Galio, as they are the most predominant members of Magical Demacia. The most difficult part here is that none of these 3 are super prone to misadventures, so instead I'm going to have to go with theming them based on their original Yordle. You see, each region's Yordle so far has matched their respective champion. So for example, Senna and Vhagar both work together on the theme of darkness, and Caitlyn and Teemo work together on traps. Therefore, we have to look at Poppy to see...
Wait. Is that true across the board for all of them? There's no way that's true across the board for all of them, right? There's got to be some exceptions to that. Like Lulu is the Bandle Yordle. What's Lulu's paired champion? Zigzaris works with landmarks. Nami Fizz works with spells. Lulu Zed. But like what is Lulu's paired champion? Because it would have to be the new one, right? The new Ionia one. Lulu didn't get released this expansion, neither did Teemo or Fizz, guys. That one, it seems mostly true, but it feels like there has been like 1 or 2 exceptions.
Which is the best bet here? Poppy is all about attacking and giving buffs to allies. Neither of these themes really suit Sylas that much, so I think it's safe to eliminate him. However, when it comes to spreading wide buffs, Sona is the hallmark for that. But at the same time, the eager to fight Galio would synergize really well with the wide board that Poppy likes, as he is known as a defender, someone who could protect the board that Poppy needs to pop off. So we are at a bit of a conundrum here. Both of these characters could be described as having magical misadventures in some kind, thanks to Sona's entire character arc, and Galio even now traveling to the Freljord to help save Lux. So honestly guys, I'm gonna leave it to you. Let me know what you think it is.
Ooh.
Is it Sona coming in with even more AoE buffs for Poppy? Or is it Galio helping protect the board while Poppy comes in for the next big swing? Now, I know you guys probably want me to say exactly who it's going to be and not fence sit here. And honestly, this is basically going to be a 50-50.
I think this is the first time Roy's ever done a 50-50.
I think it's going to be Galio. Not for any real reason, but because of an old lore story. Back before the lore was rewritten for League of Legends, Poppy actually inspired Galio to join the league. Now, how fitting would it be if she foreshadowed his arrival just as she had done before in League of Legends? Of course, I doubt anyone even remembers the old lore that much to schedule a release schedule around it, but it's a funny thought. So my final choices are going to be Yuumi for Targon and Bandle City, Kennen for Ionia and Bandle City, Ahri for Ionia, and then finally Galio for Demacia. But anyways, that's all for me today.
So personally, my prediction, and this is going to be hard. We're going to have to kind of do this one together, guys. But I'm thinking there's going to be at least one kind of like design forced pairing, right? Like Senna and Veigar were designed to work together. Pyke and Rek'Sai were designed to work together. You know, there's a lot of champions that have like designed pairings. And I was saying at the start that Gnar seemed like one of the ones. We know we're going to get Gnar. Gnar was data mined. I don't know if he'll be in this one or the next one in 2 months. But we do know some of these are designed to work together, right? So it does feel like, I mean, if Ahri is designed to work with one of them, then it would have to be something that involves, well, it doesn't have to involve recalls directly, but she would be on the recall side of things. Oh God, who else would it be? I don't know. So the problem with me is I don't know all like what the league champions do. Like I don't know what Kennen would be designed to work. This is the first that was designed for the 3 steps to lease, so the forced pairing theory may be wrong. It's an interesting point, Kazuva. Yeah, it's very possible. It's very possible. But yeah, it could be stuns. It's not impossible. Like Galio is supposed to be working with Ahri and like some stun recall synergy, but that's kind of a stretch because Yasuo would be in that deck, and stuns I don't think are really gonna necessarily tie it together. Kennen stuns? Oh yeah, Kennen has like stuns. That's true. Yeah, Kennen is a stunner. Okay, so if Kennen's in Ionia, then the forced pairing might just be, you know, Kennen plus Ahri. Kennen, Ahri, Yasuo. Oh God. I do want them to buff Yasuo because like I do like the champion. One of the biggest points of feedback that I've given to the devs multiple times over the last year and a half has actually been like along the axis of trying to like buff some of the older champions like Yasuo, trying to make them like a little bit less
more
trolly.
Yasuo copium. You love to
more
see
Yasuo copium. Yeah, it would be really nice. Like, because a very long time ago, I mean, Yasuo used to be a 4-3, and over a year ago, they buffed him to a 4-4. And at the time, it was just like, you could tell this wasn't like a good solution. Just like giving him a point of health doesn't really solve the problems with the champion. But I would really like to see a Yasuo buff. Like, that'd be sick. I'd love to build Yasuo decks and not be trolling doing it, right? And then there's the idea of if Yasuo gets buffed, then like Kennen is, Kennen plus Ahri plus Yasuo, there's a lot of like mixed togethers that could be. If Kennen is like stun in Ionia and Ahri is in recall in Ionia, that could be really, really cool. But overall, yeah, it looks pretty interesting. I don't know what the final champion is that Roy was speculating between. I hope Yuumi doesn't literally just single-handedly just kill everything, because I'm the idea of Yuumi coming out as a Targon plus Bandle and it just being Yuumi, it's the signs. The signs are all there, guys. There's so many red flags. But maybe she's just, you know, some kind of elusive support. She easily could be something elusive, you know, being in kind of like Bandle. She could like do some support stuff with elusive. That seems like the kind of thing Yuumi would do too. So maybe she'll just be elusive cancer, which, you know, I wouldn't be able to complain about. That'd be great. But yeah, overall, these videos are always super
so much
cool.
for watching. I really appreciate you guys coming through. If you guys have any questions about anything, please feel free to DM me either on Discord or on Twitter. My links to each of those will be in the description below. But otherwise, that is it. Thank you so much again for watching. I will see you all next time. Peace out.
I want you guys all to head over to Roy's channel and give this video a like. One of the things is, like, I like being able to watch these videos on stream or like put them on YouTube alongside, but it is a little bit unfair to the original poster of the video, because it's sort of like, in some ways, you know, people talk about giving them exposure, but in some ways, yeah, you're kind of like taking a potential view from them. So I mean, I want to make things very fair. Roy makes excellent content, and all of these predictions he puts a ton of time and energy into, and is completely alone in the community in doing that. So head over to the video, drop him a like or a sub or, you know, whatever you want. But Roy definitely deserves it. His videos are always just top tier, and I'm happy to see every new one that comes out. So absolutely, I'm looking forward to this new set. Reveals are probably going to start on Monday or Tuesday, as they always do after the seasonals qualies on the Monday or Tuesday after that. And I'm looking forward to the new reveal season.